What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Miami Heat Association Episode 3, and in today's episode we're going to take on the Philadelphia 76ers, who are led by Charles Barkley and company. If you missed our last episode, the Heat pulled off a pretty big upset win over the Chicago Bulls. Kevin Edwards with a nice swipe of Michael Jordan on Jordan's last shot attempt of the game in an attempt to tie it. So definitely a pretty surprising result, and it doesn't get any easier from here as we travel to Philadelphia for the second game in as many days. It'll be a road game against Barkley and the 76ers. We're kind of going through the roster here. You can kind of see some of the Sixers' top players that we'll have to focus on, obviously headlined by Charles Barkley, but there's also Hershey Hawkins, Johnny Dawkins, Rick Mahorn, Mike Jaminski. So some well-known players that we'll have to compete against. It's interesting with the 76ers roster makeup that Barkley is going to be the small forward in this game. He's a better outside shooter than you might expect, given his sort of like historical reputation, but it should be a pretty good battle. We expect to still see him take the ball in the post a lot. I think his bread and butter is still going to be in the paint, so the spacing obviously is not going to be what you kind of see from modern NBA teams, but it should still be a good battle, and our interior defense is going to have to really step up as we see the Philadelphia skyline heading into the matchup. So Heat 76ers, second game of the season for the Heat. We'll look to see if we can pull off another upset as the starting lineups get introduced. So I'll cut the commentary here and let Kevin Harlan and the gang kind of take the reins, and I'll be back in the post game for some analysis, show you guys some stats, and then we're also going to simulate through a few games to progress a little bit more into the season. I don't plan on playing every game during this 82 game season, but I did want to play these first two games because it's obviously Barkley and Jordan. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. So let's get ready for tip-off. Heat, Sixers. Let's ride.
When he does take the shot. This guy is a catch, fire, and hit guy.
This, of course, their first chance to play Miami this season. Last year, they were humiliated in their matchup, losing every game in 4 tries.
Yeah, they dropped the season series to this team a year ago, so those games definitely were not their best performances of the year.
They were an example of how sometimes you can indeed play down to your opponent, or your opponent plays up to you.
Now the 76ers on the break. Got that one up good.
That's a nice way for his team to get started.
Yeah, really nice start for his team to get out in front here.
Doris Burke has some information for us. Doris?
I was able to catch up with the head coach of the 76ers. Coach said that even though this is the first meeting of the year, he didn't expect there to be much of a feeling out period between the teams. He said, listen, we have a group of guys that can all score and do it in a hurry. I expect us to come right at them and test their defense early on. They'll definitely be on the attack.
Thanks a lot, Doris. As we might have guessed, their offensive strategy playing heavily into their approach here, guys.
Well, that's kind of their identity.
They don't get into a good rhythm early, then things could start to fall apart.
Here's Hawkins. Gets an open look and hits. Shot clock at 6. And fouled hard that time. He'll get to the line and shoot 2. Philadelphia shooting their first shots of the night from a charity stripe.
Well, they were very pleased with their free throw numbers a year ago. They knocked down about 79% from the stripe as a team.
And you can't take those numbers lightly, fellas. I mean, their free throw shooting made a difference for them.
Now here's Douglas. He picked up 18 points in their last win against Chicago. Knocks it loose. Just over 2.5 minutes played here so far in the first quarter.
Going to now, Kevin, the new owners, a lot of them businessmen, they want to turn to math to try to figure this whole thing out. Bottom line, though, is...
Here's Dawkins. Inside. Hawkins. A nice shot by Mahorn. Passes to Edwards. Here's the break. Dawkins kicks to Hawkins. The quick look, no good that time.
Can't get a much better look than that, though.
Sure can't. Not one you'd expect him to miss there.
And he gets it to go as they call the foul. He's on his way to the line for one more.
Boy, he just battled through that initial impact and somehow reeled it in.
Excellent.
Here's Dawkins. He passes it to Mahorn. Here's Dawkins. He's covered by Thompson. Gets it to go.
Their percentage from the floor is really impressive up to this point.
And so here's Miami. 6-point game.
They go through that.
Barkley with a screen on Douglas. Here's Dawkins. Shot's good.
Big offensive night.
Yeah, rarely do you see a team get that hot. In total, I mean, everybody was knocking them down. They were spraying it from everywhere.
Barkley from 17 feet out. No good.
That's one he knows he should have made.
He kicks it to Douglas. That's good.
You know, something was per game.
8th in scoring. And they were a top 10 team in field goal shooting. Not bad for a team that's got an awful lot of young talent.
A few turnovers that they committed. In the top 10 in the league in terms of fewest turnovers per game. And that boded well for them. Anytime when they went on their huge winning streak, it wasn't like they did it all at home. In fact, 13 of those 27 games during the winning streak, he will explode when he gets into the open court. And he does so much for his team's tempo and pace when he's on the court.
Hey guys, he plays a tough brand of basketball. His biggest tool and asset.
And Smith subbed in for Hawkins. To the middle. Got a piece of it. Lets it go with the three. And that one's good. Now here's Brooks. Makes the lead pass. Anderson. And that's making a switch here. Douglas against Brooks. There's the pass to Rice. And again, Miami with the... The dish now to Anderson. From the arc. Good on the shot. Anderson's... Kicks it to Douglas. Using his post moves to get the 2-point. Anderson right side. Cans the shot with nobody. Douglas passes it to Rice. Can't get it to go. Nice D from Anderson. The shot's good. Dishes it to Smith. That drops and it comes off an assist from Brooks. Down low. Drops in the layup for 2. Quarter coming up right after this break, so don't go anywhere.
The hands, tracing that ball so you can come up with deflection that may lead to steal.
In a moment now. Pass to Long. It's going to be 2 free throws.
Top of the Eastern Conference has been getting tougher over the last few seasons. Unfortunately for the Sixers, they've headed the other direction. They've been going south.
Something that could help them get to the top of the East, but Bynum never played a single game for them. So it's understandable why Philadelphia is targeted.
That drops. Number 20, defended by Copeland. And Edwards with the stuff. 5 to shoot. The Heat need to get a shot off. Number 20. And again, Miami. Number 2. That is good.
Having their way down low.
The drive by Brooks. And he was fouled on the way in.
Going to be the case. What a series with the Pacers down low, and eventually the Heat were able to pull it out. But boy, was that a tough series.
Ran away with the game. But you know, Clark, if it weren't for the heroics of LeBron earlier in the series, it would have been the Pacers
game the Pacers had and didn't squeeze. But the way these two teams are constructed, they should be seeing a lot more of each other in the near future. And I think that's a good one brewing.
the pass to Edwards. And the Heat made another. Number 20. And he gets it to go.
Coming off a pretty pass.
Well, if you just looked at assists as the measuring stick, they've been by far the better team.
Edwards with it. Now defended by Payne. Shot from 16. And he has tied at the 72 Lakers win record. And I'm sure everyone remembers, but ultimately they would fall, Steve, to the Bulls.
Freak to me was one of the great feats in NBA history. So difficult, but it showed you what the Heat were.
Pass to Dawkins. And that one's good. The feed to Douglas. And he drops in the layup off the glass. Fall for him.
More good work on the glass there. When it's all said and done, I think rebounding might well tell the story in this case.
Number 42, defended by Rice. Dawkins. That doesn't go on the chance to tie. The Heat with the lead. Pass to Rice. Wide open look. That's good.
But probably his greatest value lies in his tremendous three-point shooting. He's out on the perimeter. It gives them the ability.
Heat moving the ball around. Passes it to Rice. 5 on the clock, and that one's good. There's a screen. He kicks it to Douglas. Gives him the lead pass. Lays it up, and
Because it leads to the confidence growing, doesn't it, Steve?
It sure does, and now it's to the point where they just feel unstoppable.
Number 4. And he draws body contact. Looked like a throw line.
Boy, 76ers had a season due last year was winning at home. Good thing, too, given how unforgiving.
And a foul on the shot. Good idea to be under 500 at home in a city that has been Santa Claus before. Steve, luckily they were able to avoid that, going 20. Kicks to Douglas. Feeds it to Thompson. And so he draws the foul on the shot. A trip to the line to shoot 2. He's made 2 of his 3 attempts tonight. So he gets them both. Here's Dawkins. And that's not going to go. And so we conclude the first half. And leading by 7. I'm going to step away briefly, but we'll be right back out here for the start of the third quarter after our halftime. Back to Thompson. And the pass to Edwards. Here's Rice. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here.
Yeah, he got whacked. Shouldn't be much debate on that one.
Yeah, that was a straightforward.
Both good from the line that time. Here's Dawkins. 12 points for him. Takes the turnaround J. Barkley, and that's... Pass to Dawkins. Kicks it out to Hawkins. Nailed from three-point line. Rice passes to Edwards. Doubled by Hawkins. Passes it to Edwards. And he jams it with authority. Well, now they're just going to town on him.
Yeah, you'd think these defenders would have done a little more to put a stop to that stuff, Kevin, but so far.
They get a hand on it. Here we go, one-on-one. Here's Rice. The feather touch on the finger roll. Now the pass to Dawkins. Right through the knee for the layup. He feeds it to Douglas. Just 5 on the clock. And off the basket, he is fouled, and he's going to the line for one more.
The defense had better start buckling down and tightening up. Yeah,
Passes to Frank. Dishes to Douglas. Number 4. And, there's a whistle. He was going for a layup, and sure they were going to call a foul shot or not, but and Philadelphia making a change here. Thornton's checked in. He hits. On the shot. Got him on the way up that time, so he'll shoot 2 right here. All right, well, a look at how the points have been generated so far. Scoring breakdown for the Heat.
guys, the passing.
They set the screen. And stolen by Thornton. Now the 76ers on the break. Dawkins with basketball. Goes away to the basket.
Wasted no time going from defense to offense.
Shot clock at 6. Shot from the top of the key. But they recover it. This one for 3. Offensive rebound Heat. Pass to Frank. And down it goes. Dunk. Hawkins with it. Great defense that time from Edwards.
Nice little lead they're enjoying here, and they deserve it with all the work they put in on the glass.
Brooks dishes to Barkley. The turnaround jumper. Up top, Edwards. He kicks to Douglas. Number 4. And they're going to count the bucket and send him to the line. It could be a three-point play.
I think they need to get much more disruptive.
Kicks it to Douglas. Solid defense there from Dawkins. Picked away. It's Hawkins on the wing. With the floater and blocked. The Heat leading by 10. Edwards passes to Frank. Gets it to go. Barkley with a screen on Douglas. Hopefully. But they'll get another chance. Pass to Dawkins. They grabbed the one miss, and he was fouled in the act of shooting. Chance here now for a three-point play.
You know, there's no fear out of him, guys. I mean,
Douglas, 11 points in the game. Here's one, and there's a nice opportunity
For the highlight reel when he sees one.
Dawkins kicks the Barkley. Gets the 14th for the foul. Just 5 to shoot. Number 20. That's good with a Douglas assist.
Get it going, but the shots just have not dropped for him today.
So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there. The first free throw is good.
You know, even though they're down, they're putting on a show at the free throw line this half.
I think they've done a good job of making the most of their chances at the line, and they've got to keep it up to take the lead.
Number 20, he's covered by Hawkins. Number 2. Second shot opportunity, and the shot's good from front. And here's Hawkins. He's got 9. Anderson outside for 3. That's good. Anderson's got 10. Shoots it up. And it's wide right. It's off the rim. And that's going to do it for the third quarter. Heat lead by 9. In time to step aside quickly, but we'll be back in no time with the start of the fourth quarter. 6 on the shot clock. Inside. Deflected. Dawkins gets to Anderson. And there's the whistle on the shot. Took the foul. Shot misses. He'll be shooting 2. And that free throw good from Anderson. And he can't hit the second. Number 20. 18 feet away and he knocks it down.
Boy, I tell you what, he's having one of those.
He feeds it to Anderson. Dishes it to Barkley. Defended by Long. And so he earns a triple. And he makes both free throws good from Heat moving the ball around. Number 2. Fires the jumper from the corner and the feed to Barkley. Barkley right side. 2 cruising as the shot clock ticks line with Doris Burke.
Thanks, guys. I was able to hear the Heat's coach going over their game plan during that break. Silly fouls.
Up top, Douglas. Number 4. That's good with a Douglas. Here's Dawkins. Nice D from Douglas.
That's an easy shot there. That's a shot that he should make more often than not.
Thompson gets it to go. The screen from Thompson. Douglas dishes to Thompson. That's good. Tom passes it to Hawkins. Takes the 13-footer, and he needs the jumper to drop. Hawkins with it. Mahorn a screen on Thompson. Now the dish to Anderson. Again, he kicks to Douglas. Thompson outside. So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up, and 2 shots coming up.
The 76ers having a lot of trouble defending against Thompson.
He's got 10 points, and he's managed to get 4 of his points by way of the free throw line.
Hawkins. Again, Philadelphia. And there's the pass to Rice. That's good with a Douglas assist. Here's Dawkins. Makes it off the glass. Douglas the pass to Thompson. Now got a piece of it. And they're pushing it up. Here's Barkley. And it's good. Through contact, it's the shot. He'll go to the free throw line.
Good defense, but now love the finish with the finger roll over the top.
And that one falls for Barkley.
He's simply just willing himself to the line here.
Douglas with it. Now defended by Dawkins. Rice passes to Douglas. And here's Edwards. Pocket 6. Thompson backing down. Number 4. And 2 free throws coming up as he misses that one. Drawing the whistle and a lot of contact there. Number 42. And so he's picked up his final foul. And he will sit for the rest of this game. And the 76ers making a change here. Anderson's checked in. So he makes 1 of 2 as the second one misses. The 76ers trail by 5. Hawkins with it. And the bench shot is good.
A sensational run has them on the brink of tying it up and even taking the lead all of a sudden.
Steve, quite a turn of events here. I mean, they really snapped into focus in a hurry and tightened up their game at both ends.
Back to Thompson. Pass to Rice. He dishes it to Douglas. Barkley grabs the board. Barkley's got rebound number 11 for him here tonight.
They've done a great job of controlling the boards in this one, Kevin.
Dawkins kicks to Barkley. And it's Miami with the rebound. Thompson's got his 4th rebound with that last one here tonight. Looking to end his cold spell. And the shot counts. He's fouled. That's a chance for a 3-point play.
You got to like how they're getting the ball inside this half. They didn't have as much success earlier in the game. Now they're showing real determination.
Here's Barkley. Shot from the inbound. Wasted no time on that shot, but it's off the mark. Well, Heat leading by 6. There's a minute 40 left in the 4th quarter. Dishes it to Douglas. It's good. There's a foul call in the play. They'll get one free throw.
Steve cannot forget about him like that. He'll light you up big time.
That free throw good from Douglas. The 76ers running out of time. Here's Dawkins. Puts one up. That's good. Dawkins has got 9 points here in the second half. And he's gone to the three-pointer 11 times tonight, and he hit 5 of them. Now here's Douglas. Rice defended by Anderson. 6 on the shot clock. Here's Rice. Noah and Philadelphia the other way now. Douglas the pass to Rice. Number 4. Blanketed by the D. He fights to the rim for the layup.
Well, it's a wrap, fellas. No way you come back in this one.
Not anymore. Any chance of that happening went out the window a while ago.
Barkley, he's covered by Thompson. And the basket good by Barkley.
Well, the only tough part of that basket for him was getting into such good position. The rest of it seemed easy.
And he's shooting extremely well. 62% of the night to this point. He feeds it to Douglas. He passes to Rice. And it's Philadelphia with the rebound.
Pretty good defense there. I mean, that's a shot that he can make, but they really challenged him.
Anderson can't get it to go. Now Douglas.
Yeah, I think so. Look at this hit. Nice shot. Very top-rated.
Presentation of basketball to a sport. This is
All right, everyone, welcome to the post game. Heat with another upset, a second in as many nights, as we knock off the Philadelphia 76ers. Pretty much lead the whole way. Philadelphia closed the gap a few times in this game, but I feel like we kind of had control and dictated tempo and just really dictated the control of the game overall. So whereas the Bulls game, I always felt like the lead was in peril. I think in this one, Ronnie Cycli was a huge factor in this one, as you see him win player of the game, second in as many nights. I think we controlled just the overall pace of the game in this one much more than the Chicago game. So, I mean, we let Barkley get his. He was 32 points, 11 rebounds. Really, no one else hurt us significantly. I mean, we got Mike Jaminski in foul trouble, 4 points, 2 rebounds. So he eventually fouled out. So, I mean, I feel like our interior game, Cycli, 14 rebounds in this one to pair with 17 points, but Glenn Rice was also someone you could say was worthy of winning player of the game. 25 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, hit a couple threes. The guy is an athletic beast. He's clearly made up of different stuff than really anyone else on my team, even as a rookie. Sherman Douglas, I thought, was erratic at times, but overall had a pretty solid game playing point guard. Just a balanced all-around effort. You had obviously Rice, you had Cycli, you had Sundfeld with 15 points off the bench, hit a couple outside jump shots. Really, I mean, the difference in the game came down in the final 2.5 minutes when Philadelphia closed it to 94-91. Ronnie Cycli goes down, gets an and one. We get a defensive stop. We come back a little while later. Sherman Douglas also gets an and one, and that puts us up 191, and that was really the difference. So another game where we shoot really well from the field. Shooting percentage is still a little too high for my liking in the grand scheme of things. I think in my testing and play now games, we didn't shoot as well as we have been in this association. So after the game's over, I'm going to go into settings, and I think we're going to switch from all-star to superstar settings. I'll show you guys kind of the sliders that I've been using. But I think just based on these first two results, where clearly we're the less talented team, I think we're more evenly matched with the Sixers and the Bulls. But regardless, I think this is just one of those things where I can kind of see I'm only going to get better at this game. I haven't even played it all that much. But the success that I'm having so far with kind of a lower overall rated roster than some of my opponents, it's not really going to get any better. So I think we're going to bump the difficulty up going forward. But it's nice to get the feet wet here with these first two games and really get a feel for a lot of my players. Again, here's some Glenn Rice highlights. Again, I thought he was exceptional, shooting jump shots, getting a block, driving into the lane, getting an acrobatic layup, a couple nice Euro steps in the lane on drives. I mean, he did it all in this game. Didn't matter who was guarding him. Pump fake Charles Barkley, drive to the lane and drive into the lane, and then a layup. A couple passes into the post to Ronnie as well. Again, just an all-around complete effort by him, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to user him in this association. So here's the settings that I use. You'll kind of see I'm going to switch from all-star to superstar. And I think with this slider set, you'll kind of see that the inside shooting and scoring around the basket sliders and in the mid-range as well, those are higher than the 50 defaults. I think that's more of just a representation of this era, where obviously everyone is shooting inside the arc for the most part in this era of basketball, so the ratings are going to be a little bit higher. But I think that's also contributing to maybe why I'm just shooting so well, so I'm kind of sticking to what everyone in this era is doing, where they're not shooting a lot of threes, so I'm trying not to do that too much either. But that leads to, I'm shooting so many two-pointers that I think that's why my shooting percentages are just way too high. So hopefully Superstar difficulty will help nullify that. We'll do some testing in the next few games that I play, just to kind of get a feel for what that's going to look like. And if I'm still seeing the shooting percentages still a little too high, I'll probably bump the inside shooting and mid-range shooting from the 60 that it's currently at now, maybe down to like 55 or something, and kind of test that out. But these sliders were included with this mod, and Hawk23, who is the creator of this mod, I mean, they've done such a fantastic job with the settings that I kind of don't want to mess with it. So that's why these first 2 games I kind of just left it as is, and I can see that I might be a little too good for these settings. I wasn't expecting it, because I wouldn't say I'm great on the sticks or anything, but definitely a bump of difficulty will go a long way, I think, to kind of lowering my shooting percentages and getting more realistic results. So here you'll kind of see I'm going to simulate a few games, just to kind of advance further in the schedule. I played the first 2 games of the year to kind of, I mean, obviously they're big names in the sport, arguably 2 of the top 5 biggest names in the sport. So I wanted to get those 2 games under my belt, and now I'll do a little bit more simulating. I probably will play 15 to 20 games per season during the regular season, and then in the playoffs I'll probably play every playoff game. As we advance a little further in the association, I think I'll play less during the regular season and more during the postseason, especially when I have teams that are rated higher. So we'll see how that goes. But of course, you'll see in the first simulation game that I do, Charles Franks go down. He's one of our backup big guys, so we got to reset the rotation a little bit. Pat Cummings is going to be the one who I give a few more minutes to. Not that he's great or anything, but I mean, someone's got to man the minutes in the post. Charles Franks, I thought, did a good job for us during our 2 games that we played in. I'm not sure how good he'll be during simming. So, I mean, the settings that I have now, you can set the top 3 scorers. So, I mean, obviously that's going to be Ronnie, Glenn, and Sherman Douglas. So those guys are going to take the bulk of the shots during sim. Not too much different than how when I play. So just going to tinker with the rotation a little bit, give Pat Cummings a few more minutes, give some more minutes to Glenn Rice and some of our other front court players to kind of compensate for losing some depth here. And yeah, let's get back to simulating a few more games and see what happens. So in the first game that we simulate, we lose to the Mavericks 104-92. Didn't have too great of an outing here. Led at halftime. Well, in the third quarter, we kind of collapsed, as you can see, and then in the fourth quarter, we were outscored as well. So not that great of an effort in our first simulated effort. So let's go advance a couple more games here, and we'll get to the Houston Rockets game. So in our second game, we knock off the Washington Bullets 88-74. So we are able to win our first simulated contest to improve to 3-1 on the season. Pretty low scoring effort, but we led the whole way through, so that's encouraging to see that we can get some wins during simulation. I was kind of worried that we were going to play some games and win but lose every sim game. So let's go to prospect scouting now. This is our second time we'll be sending scouts out, so after winning our first couple of games, maybe we won't get a top 5 pick after all. I mean, if I play 15 to 20 games a year and do better than I expected I would, maybe I'll pick in the late lottery or maybe the back half of the top 10. So let's send some scouts out to maybe scout some of the guys who are in the mid-first round, and maybe like in the back half of the top 10, and not so much just the top 5 guys. So I think we just want to have an all-around sort of scouting effort here, as I'm still figuring out how good my team's going to be during simulation and how good I'm going to be, especially with the difficulty going up. So let's scout some other guys. We defeat the Toronto Raptors in our next simulated game. I would hope so. The Raptors are made up of all 25 overall players. The Raptors, Bobcats, and Grizzlies all have fake players on their team. They don't exist in the 1989-90 season, so they don't have any real players. Unfortunately, in NBA 2K14, you can't delete teams or re-add anyone. after the fact into your association files. So with that being in mind, we just have to deal with them being, fake teams with fake rosters up until the time that they're actually created in real life, and then I'll start letting them sign real players and drafting. So for now, the Raptors, Bobcats, and Grizzlies will just be easy sim wins, but I don't actually beat the Raptors as much as I would like, given how terrible their roster is. I mean, it's literally fake players. But we get the win nonetheless, and now we played the Clippers, and it looks like we get a sim win here as well. So the Miami Heat are 5-1, off to a great start this year, 109-80, the final over the Clippers. The Heat are already a third of the way to their win total from their expansion season. So a great start. 2 user wins, and then 3 simulated wins, even though one of those really shouldn't count, the Raptors. But it's encouraging to see that, Glenn Rice is putting up some great stats during sim play. It's exactly what I wanted whenever I set him as a number 1 scoring option in settings. So nice to see that he's playing just as well in sim as he was for me in playing games. Ronnie Cycli, Kevin Edwards and company. I think it's a pretty decent starting 5. I don't think it's too terrible. So it's nice to see that, we're still putting together some wins as we even deal with the loss of Tellus Franks as one of our backup bigs, and have to give some of the starters more minutes during sim play. So I wanted to show you guys just some of the box scores for some of these teams that don't have any real players on them. It's pretty funny to look at. So the only time I expect the Raptors, Grizzlies, or Bobcats to win any games is when they'll play each other. So you'll see some real barn burner box scores when they do play against each other. To be fair, our margin of victory wasn't all that impressive against a team of all 25 overalls, but it is pretty funny to look at the final scores and shooting percentages from some of those games where the teams with no one on them are playing against each other. But now we'll wrap up the episode. You'll kind of see that we're going to face the Boston Celtics next, the undefeated Boston Celtics. They're coming in at 6-0. They're going to travel to Miami to play the 5-1 Heat, and actually early season marquee matchup for the Heat. Wasn't expecting that at all. But for Boston, it's business as usual. They have still, even though it's an aging roster, still have some very good players on here. Larry Bird is still going strong at age 32. So it should be a good one here in Miami as we welcome a team with a great pedigree. The Celtics are not quite what they were in the 80s at this point. They're the end of their reign is sort of approaching, but maybe Bird can stay a little bit healthier in our association than he does in real life, and we'll make it through a few more years. So that about wraps up everything for this episode, guys. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to check out this Heat association. I love working on it. So Heat welcoming the Celtics to Miami. Looking forward to it. Take care, everyone.